All right, let's go over example 4, real life application. And this is part of chapter 3, section 4, the distributive property. All right, problem A says a class of 30 students visits an art museum and a special exhibit while there. It costs $8 for the museum and X dollars for the exhibit. Write and simplify an expression for the cost. Okay, so let's start with what we know. Well, we know that there are 30 students, and these students want to go to the museum, and that costs $8. So $8 for a museum. And so if they're doing something else, we're going to add something. And they want to go to the exhibit. Well, we don't know how much the exhibit costs, but it gives us the variable X. So X dollars for exhibit. Okay. So that's what we know. So now let's set up an expression. So we have 30, and let's see, what operation goes between the 30 and $8? Well, let's write out the $8 and the X dollars here. So the 30 students are going to go to the museum and the exhibit, which is X dollars. Well, if they're going to go to both of these things, we're going to want to distribute the 30 students to both of the events, to both the museum and to the exhibit. So I'm going to put parentheses around the 8 plus X. So now we're going to use the distributive property, and we're going to distribute the 30 to the 8. Ooh, that doesn't look like the way I wanted it to. We're going to distribute the 30 to the 8 and to the X. So our expression will then read 30 parentheses 8. Remember the parentheses mean multiplication, plus, because we're adding within the parentheses, 30 parentheses X. And we use the distributive property. Okay. Now we can multiply. We can solve 30 times 8. Well, 30 is a little big, so let's ignore that 0 for a second. We know that 3 times 8 is 24. And now let's remember that 0 again. We need to add it on. Plus 30 times X, well, that's the same way as writing 30X, because we don't know how much the exhibit costs, so it'll just be 30X. And for that step, we just multiplied. And that's it. So there's our simplified expression, 240 plus 30X. And that'll give us the total cost. All right, let's go over problem B. It says your baseball team has 16 players. Each player needs a pair of pants and a belt. Pants cost $10 and belts cost X dollars. Write and simplify an expression for the cost. Okay, let's start with what we know again. So we know that there's 16 players and they need one pair of pants, and the pants cost $10. So $10 pants, and so plus they also need X dollars belt. Okay, so now let's get this into an expression here. So let's see, 16, and then there's $10 for the pants plus X dollars for belt. Well, if each player is going to need the pants and the belt, we're going to want to distribute the 16 again. So we're going to put parentheses around the 10 plus X. And let's go ahead and distribute that. 16 is going to be distributed to the 10 and to the X. Pause the video, see if you can do that on your own. So now our expression is going to say 16 parentheses 10 plus 16 parentheses X. And that was the distributive property. All right, now let's simplify. We can do some multiplying here. We can do 16 times 10. Well, 16 times 10 is a little big, but I could do 16 times 1 and then put the 0 back. 16 times 1 is 16, and then remember that 0, add it on. So 160 plus, and then 16 times X is the same as just saying 16X. And for that, we just multiplied. And that's it. Our answer is 160 plus 16x.